ministers, head of the EU delegation, all protocols observed, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of UNIDO, we're very pleased to be here to work with His Excellency Mr. Richard Kandeh, the EU head of delegation, in moving this program forward. We're also honored that we have two ministers here present, Minister of Health and also the Minister of Youth. This program is an important program, and we're very pleased to see that after many years, with the backing of the European Union, that we're able to not only do a physical structure here, but provide a fundamental institutional building capacity. But let me give you a little bit of history. In 1994, when I was appointed minister here, I received a delegation once from a group of petroleum marketers. And they came to complain about adulterated lubricants. That there were fake lubricants being sold in the streets of Freetown, and it was messing up their business. So I said, what do I have to do with that? And they explained that we need to do something to make sure that good quality lubricants are sold, because it was messing up people's engines. About a month or two later, another group came in to complain about expired products. Again, what do I do? And then I see one of the radicals sitting in front of their consumer protection group came to protest. And then they told me, Mr. Minister, you have a group here in your department called the Department of Weights and Measures. I said, oh really? So I called them. It was a handful of people then. So I said, what do you do in this ministry? They said, well, we are the people who are supposed to make sure when you buy petrol and the guy says he's pumping 1 gallon, it is really 1 gallon. We're the people who are supposed to make sure that there are standards here. So, cut a long story short, we put a group together, businessmen, university folks, to work on quality and standards, called UNIDO to help. I didn't know much about the technicalities of this. I was a new minister. But yes, in 1995, we took the first paper to cabinet, which was approved looking at standards in totality. So I'm not surprised that in 1996, the new parliament gave you a legislation. But it's one thing to have a standards policy. It's another thing to have institutions that can regulate and enforce standards. So it's taken us a long time. Collaboration with government, the Standards Bureau has moved from one building to the other. But today, yes, we've been able to have a physical facility with state-of-the-art technology to really measure and test whether in fact products have standards. I will not, the head of the program has given you the technical details. Minister of Health has given you the importance for the health sector. EU delegation has given you the importance for trade. But to put it in raw form, you want to make sure, say, when you buy that tablet, now aspirin, not to chalk. You want to make sure, say, when you buy toothpaste, now toothpaste, not to poison. You want to make sure, say, when you buy cough mixture for you picking, not to poison you, the feeder. And these are real. We have seen programs, I will not name the country, where women were buying a product in the market for teething of their children. They were rubbing it when the child is uncomfortable, they rub the product. It had 4 chemicals that were banned, but it was cheap to use. And they were poisoning their kids, they didn't know. Many kids started dying, and they caught the manufacturer of that product. When the professor mentioned the plastics, he talked about the contaminated water. But in 1995, I remember a group coming in and asking me, are you sure that the containers in which they put the soft drinks and the water have the right chemical components in the plastics? Because there are some banned products, but they are cheap to make plastics. You can see the extent from health to food safety to products that we also manufacture. But also, Africa is becoming the dumping ground for everything that is bad. People sell fake medication here, they sell fake lubricants, they sell products when it's 1 week to expire, they dump it here. Without a laboratory, you can't test. Without a laboratory, you can't certify. But also it's the whole issue that when you're exporting, if we get this accredited, once they put a stamp, it can go forward. So it is about manufacturing. That's why we're very pleased with the Minister in investments, long-term capital investment. We talk about the problem of the last mile. Investments are complicated, and sometimes when you're almost there, you get into difficulty. So we call it the last mile problems. So I want to give credit to Richard, because he really pushed this to completion. You can begin something, but to keep the momentum and finish it is tough. And also Mr. President for giving us full backing. Why? He was a businessman before. So he knew the problem, because he had also seen it in other products. So as UNIDO, for us it's a global program. It's across the world. We have bigger laboratories in Bangladesh, in other places. This is the beginning. When we inaugurated some of the new labs in Bangladesh, they already had 5 years of support. And then they got a second tranche for another 5 years. In other words, Mr. Chairman, I'm already making a plea for you to the European Union that since we finished phase 1, we need another phase 2 that is 5 years. Because in Bangladesh, after evaluation, the Norwegian government and the EU put a second tranche of money. Because this is just the beginning. I give you another one. Building rod, iron rods. How sure are you that those iron rods meet quality standards? They are hosted in begin for the one that waiting happen. People sell things here that we don't even know what they are. All kinds of products. So we need more help over time, and I hope that indeed the minister will get support, because I know his ambition to do much more than this. This is the beginning. I'm very pleased when I heard the Minister of Health say this is the first of its kind so far in our country. Standard Bureau has been moved around different. In fact, one time we sent them off to Freetown in a dilapidated building there. Finally, they have a home. But it shows the importance of this. I see my friend from Benimix right here. I remember those days looking at your products and pushing, because other people were sending fake products for feeding children here. It kills our local industry because they are cheap. When they're cheap, they kill your local manufacturing. You can't create wealth without having a manufacturing base. You can't add value and export and trade if other people don't have confidence in your product. This morning, Mr. Head of the EU, I mentioned that one of the most generous trading partners is the European Union. Africans can sell all but arms. However, there is a challenge. In the EU, it's the private sector that trade, not government. For you to get a product on Tesco, these are the big supermarket chains, Tesco, Metro, Carrefour, they must meet standards. So the governments are willing, but hey, this is not a charity. Their consumers have to be protected.